Who are Bond Wolfe, and can you tell me a little bit of history about the business?
Bond Wolfe are a multidisciplined and multi-award winning property business, and we focus mainly on agency and property auctions.
So on the agency side, we specialise in all facets of commercial property. So that is predominantly retail, offices, industrial, development land. And on the auction side, again, it's all types of commercial property and then a lot of residential property, both vacant, tenanted, real mixed bag, different types.
And we're also with the auctions, we cover the whole country. So in the last auction, we sold property from Cornwall all the way up to the north of Aberdeen. And we sell properties anything from £1 up to a couple of £1 million. So it's really multidisciplinary. We cover all types of property.
I think what's interesting with auctions now finding themselves on a national scale, Bond Wolfe itself was born out of a local Black Country estate agency business back in 1983. That evolved pretty quickly into a company that also invested heavily in the Black Country area in terms of commercial property. And really that's where the auction business was originally born. It was seen as a quick, transparent way to sell property. And so Bond Wolfe as a business grew from those sort of humble beginnings, essentially.
Yeah, and early on, the good thing, or the best thing that the auction business did initially was to win the Birmingham Council contract. And I think that really added some weight to them, and it helped them to grow as they did. And then a few years later, they purchased a business called Bigwood. And then they merged the auction businesses there, and it went from strength to strength and quickly became the most successful auction business in the Midlands.
So this is a question for both of you. How long have you worked at Bond Wolfe for?
Well, mine's an interesting story. So first time I ever worked for Bond Wolfe, I was doing property auction viewings at the age of 17. So I was a bit of a junior then and went off and worked at Bigwood. And I returned to head up the auction division in January 2019.
I joined in 2003, so nearly 18 years ago, and I focus predominantly on the commercial agency side of things. So it's a business really that we both got into a considerable period of time ago, as a lot of our colleagues have as well. And it's a business that has grown pretty rapidly through various stages. We've had all sorts of challenges to face. You've obviously had the credit crunch, more latterly Brexit and COVID. But it's been a real exciting journey that Bond Wolfe's been on, and one that we feel that's really just beginning now.
And as James said, we've been here for a long time ourselves, but a lot of our staff emulate our journey, and a lot of them, we said the business launched in 1983. Many of the staff have been here for 30 plus years, so it feels a real family feel. And the reason we are successful is because of the family feel and the group of people we have working here.
So obviously you've both worked here for a long time. As James mentioned, there's been many ups and downs to deal with: credit crunches, pandemics, Brexit. But as a business, Bond Wolfe does seem to thrive in a crisis. Why do you think this is?
I think a lot of it is down to strong leadership at the top and an immense amount of forward planning. I think we'd both agree on that. It's trying to really sort of stay ahead of that curve. Everybody would like to be able to predict the future, but I think we've done that quite successfully in terms of planning for what might be coming around the corner. And we've never really been a business that's just looked at the next week, the next month. There's always a path and a journey that we're looking to focus on. So I think when we've had the challenges that you've mentioned, we've always been in a position to navigate through them.
Yeah, I think as James says, I think a lot of it is forward planning. So, I mean, and many of our leadership team know the market like the back of their hand, so we can read market trends. But stuff like that you can't predict, like stuff like a global pandemic, I think that's just down to the staff and the group of people we've got that have been adaptable. And we've been able to sort of shift and change with what we've had to do at the drop of a hat, and that's what stood us ahead, really.
Work ethic is always mentioned by leaders within Bond Wolfe. So would you say this is your key to success?
I think it's a vital cog in the machine. It's interesting that staff that we have taken on through sort of recent years have all had a very similar mindset, that is to work hard. You are part of effectively a family, and when we've been faced with difficult times, it's so interesting to see. COVID's a good example, just how staff at all levels have really pulled together.
And I don't think that's a coincidence either. I think we've specifically looked for character traits in people when we interview them, so we know we're getting the right people to join our team that all fit in. And the work ethic amongst our team is just immense. And we've been described as relentless, which I think is a good word to describe the team. And they do get the job done brilliantly well, and they know that they're part of a bigger group and a bigger family now.
We also have, I think, going back to the comments about forward planning, we're very keen to share that with staff. So people coming into the business understand the journey and the path that the company's on, so they are able to buy into it very early. And as Gurpreet said, we look for those sort of traits when we're employing staff.
And everything we do as a business, we've got it with clients, staff and the community at heart. Everything we do, every decision we make. So that helps us really.
Speaking now, you both mentioned staff and how you like them to be part of the business. Just wondering, have your impressions changed over the years that you've worked with Bond Wolfe?
Yeah, I think when I joined, obviously I have got family involved in the business, so it was going to feel like family straight away for me, and that's the vibe I get from everybody else when they've joined. I was part of the team that went off to Bigwood and have since went on to work at other places, and I've seen what it's like on the other side, and it's completely different to here. You can just feel like a number elsewhere. You don't feel like you're important. You feel like another cog. Here, you genuinely are felt really important no matter what job you do, and you're heard, you're listened to, and I think it really is important.
And interestingly enough for me, when I joined in 2003, our chairman who took me on was actually a client of mine in a previous role. So I knew of his sort of work ethics and the way he approaches business. So I knew the type of company I was coming into. But I think as the years have gone by, it's actually escalated in terms of how quick we look in terms of progressing the business, moving forward, seeking opportunities. It's fast paced, but it's so rewarding in the sense that there is always something else around the corner that we're aiming for and striving for.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
As well as the commercial property agency and auctions business, there are other businesses that maybe not so many people have heard of or know about, like Bond Wolfe Care Homes, Bond Wolfe Finance and Bond Wolfe Property Investment. Can you tell us a little bit about these businesses?
Well, one of the other arms to Bond Wolfe, and it's probably one that we're most proud of, is the Bond Wolfe Charitable Trust. That came about predominantly from Bond Wolfe being a company that invested heavily in the Black Country area originally, say going back to inception in 1983, and really looking for ways and opportunities to put a bit back into the community. And that's been done through a number of ways, whether it's raising some funds for a much needed circumstance. Brilliant one we did a few years back now was for a young child needing very specialist operation. So to be able to provide funds, raise funds to assist in something like that is magnificent. And also we've done things like investing heavily in a local school to give them a platform to build, develop students, all done very much in the local area. So that's another arm, Bond Wolfe, say the Charitable Trust, that is something that perhaps a lot of people wouldn't immediately associate us with as a company.
And it's something I'm obviously very, very proud of as well. And I think it's something that I believe that we have an obligation to help out our community. And the Charitable Trust is something that, as I said, I'm extremely proud of, as is James. Other areas of the business, obviously you mentioned things like finance and care homes, which is, when you're in property this long, it's inevitable that you are going to have other arms, and you've got other specialist areas. And the most recent one is the Bond Wolfe Media, which has taken off brilliantly well. It's something that we're really passionate about with the way the world has gone. Everything's a lot more digital and online, and it's something that we really believe in. And we've welcomed the new team. They've settled in really, really well, and it's a really important part of our business going forward.
I think that was also a big part of the forward planning thinking, if you like, that digital marketing, social media, it is the future of property. It's something that has evolved very, very quickly, and with Bond Wolfe Media, it's an opportunity for us to grow a market presence, but also just enhance the way we present properties and the company as a whole.
And yeah, and James is right, it has changed, particularly with COVID. It's just changed even quicker than we ever thought. I think it was always going that way, but with everything being digital and our auction landscape's changed immeasurably now. We used to have a room full of people, which obviously we can't have at the moment, so everything's gone online and is live streamed. We've embraced the new technology and it's really, really worked for us. We keep a lot of the traditional routes in place as well, but with the new digital team moving forward, I mean, the last auction we had 37,000 people watching. I mean, that's impossible to do without such a great media team behind us.
Would you say you have more people buying properties that they haven't physically inspected now?
Oh, without question. I think with the virtual tours that we've been doing, it makes it more accessible. We've certainly seen more buyers from London and the South East buying now in our region. We've also got buyers from Europe, Hong Kong, Singapore, and not only that, it's enabled us to get instructions throughout the country quite comfortably because we've got the online platform. I know we've got 30,000 plus people watching online, thousands of registered bidders, so it's become a real hotbed of property activity.
And even on the agency side, we're selling more income-producing investments than ever before. And again, a lot of that is to buyers from out of our immediate area who have access to more information than they ever had and are able to make informed decisions and often commit to a purchase without having actually physically seen the property.
So the media business is a little bit different to other businesses under the Bond Wolfe banner. Can you tell us a little bit about why you've invested in this? And are you looking for other acquisitions away from property, or was it just that the media business complemented what you're already doing at the moment?
I think that the media business really complemented what we do now, and it enables us to grow the existing businesses. And we know that with our network, we can also improve the media business and grow that. We wouldn't rule out any other acquisitions, provided they complemented what we already have. I mean, we wouldn't start doing something that's completely out of the blue for us.
We have a saying in the business that was, I wouldn't say rammed down our throats, but it's made very clear that that's how we look at things, and that's stick to your knitting. And so everything we've done, certainly in the time Gurpreet and myself have been with the business, there's always a reason why we've done it in terms of how does it link to everything else we do. So that's sticking to your knitting, sticking to what you're good at and sticking to what you know is very, very important within the overall framework of the business.
I know both businesses have recently rebranded, and I know that the rebrand is a little bit more of a change for the commercial property business than it is for the auctions business. But what are the reasons behind the rebrand?
I think that the rebrand is a natural progression. When I rejoined Bond Wolfe in 2019, we wanted our auction team to be a bit of a disruptor in the market, so it made sense for us to go off on a bit of a tangent, really our own way, and test out the market with new branding and new ideas, whilst also having the traditional Bond Wolfe background that we've always had. And obviously it was because of that we've got all the council wins that we've got with Birmingham, Walsall, Sandwell and Wolverhampton, and it's because of the traditions that we have. And our mantra, if you like, is traditional values, modern solutions, and I think the traditional values are from the existing Bond Wolfe auctions, Bond Wolfe business, and I think the Bond Wolfe auctions business is the modern solutions, and we've knitted the two together.
We've also seen an increasing amount of synergy between the two facets, agency and auctions. There seems to be a bigger overlap than ever. We're on a big growth path, and I think one of the key ways to escalate that growth is with the refreshing the branding. We want to grow Bond Wolfe to, establish ourselves nationally, and then hopefully from there we then look internationally. As I say, we always have big plans, and part of that big plan is getting the branding right. So the rebrand is really the next step in what's hopefully going to be a big journey for us.
My plan is still to make the Bond Wolfe brand one of the most successful property brands in the UK, and I think the only way to do that was to knit the two businesses together. Although we work closely together internally, I think externally now it was time to bring them both together. And there are a few growth plans that we've got in mind for other areas of property which we are looking into at the moment, and that will be bringing into the Bond Wolfe umbrella as well. And I think that is the best way for us to move forward as a group.
Both businesses have been very successful so far, but how do you measure success?
I actually don't think that we have been successful yet. I think there's bigger plans ahead, but although I do recognise there's been rapid growth in both businesses. And with the auction business, since our relaunch in January 19, it's gone from strength to strength. In our first year since the relaunch, we raised £80 million in sales, and we've done that already this year after 3 auctions. So I recognise there is a rapid growth there. I think the main reasons for that is winning every single public tender we've ever been up for, which I'm very proud of. That's because of the brilliant work the team put in the background. Also, since our launch, no other auctioneer in the country has had more 200 plus lot auctions than us, and no auctioneer in the country has had more 90% success rates than us. So I do recognise that we're on an upward trajectory, and I know that we have been successful compared to some others, but I do think that there is some bigger plans, such as on the commercial side of the auctions, which James is very, very active within as well.
I think as an overall business, the key thing that's always been instilled in anyone who works at Bond Wolfe is there isn't an end line, there isn't a finish line to this. Hence the big growth plans we've got in place. It's a journey you're on that, as well as you may be doing or as well as people may perceive you doing, we always feel there's room for improvement. And I think that's important to maintain that philosophy as you move through business.
And the main way we do that, we set ourselves business goals regularly. We set ourselves personal goals. We have meetings with our team and their personal development plans. So each of them have got goals and targets to hit both personally and business. So I think that keeps people on their toes and gives people an end goal that we keep striving for, and it's a much bigger picture.